Hello, hello. It's Jerry Kate, Sad Empowered Woman Live. Welcome. I'm here every Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time, giving you tools and inspiration, giving you things you can actually take with you and apply to your life and make shifts in your life. That's my intention. So right now I'm doing a 5-week series on setting healthy boundaries, and I'm coming at it from a bunch of different angles. So you should check it out. You can go to the guide section, and it's I think it's 5-week series of healthy boundaries. I put it right at the top. Hello. So we're talking about healthy boundaries, and tonight, we're doing. I'm afraid they'll be upset. How to handle pushback with confidence. Going to give you some tools. So the ones we did, let's see if I have it in front of me. That was my intention. Let's just start. Have you ever set a boundary only to have someone push back or make you feel bad about it? Like they make you do anything, right? But you know what I'm talking about, where you feel bad about it by what they said, or, even it's your own feelings about it that is contributing to this, but maybe something they said. And then do you find yourself going or giving just to avoid conflict? Maybe you do it with your kids, your partner, coworkers, others. It's something to look at, right? And then if you wish you could stand firm in your boundaries without guilt, anxiety, or fear. If you said yes to those questions, then this talk is for you, so stick around. I mentioned before that I'm doing a 5-week series. On week 1, we covered overcoming guilt, how to say no without feeling bad, where we learned how to set boundaries without feeling guilty, right? We identified it. And then week 2, I don't want to let anyone down. See, we're coming at it from different angles. How to honor your limits without guilt. It's still that guilt thing, right? Where we talked about avoiding overcommitment and protecting our time. So we're looking at it, we're doing layers here. But today we're tackling something just as tricky. What happens when people don't like your boundaries? When they just don't like it. So the main problem is fear of conflict or disappointing others. Guilt when someone reacts negatively to your boundary, right? That's that knee-jerk reaction. They don't like it. Oh, I feel guilty. Second, and the third one is second guessing yourself, um, and caving under pressure. That's the problem, the main problems. But the big problem is many people struggle to hold their boundaries because they worry about how others will react. They think if I set this boundary, they'll be mad at me, they'll leave, or they won't like me anymore. Come on, be honest. We've had that feeling. I don't want to deal with them getting mad at me, right? I'll disappoint them. This fear keeps them stuck in cycles of overgiving and resentment. Overgiving, not being able to say no, overgiving, and then being resentful. Who wants to live like that? Nobody. So, what's the big solution? Learning how to expect pushback, stay firm, and communicate with confidence so you can honor your needs without guilt. And so, expecting pushback, expect it. It's like, when you're planning goals, what could go wrong? What will I do about it if it goes wrong? Right? Having that solution there. So when you expect the pushback, you stay firm and communicate with confidence, and we'll have a script at the end that you can practice with. But I love this part, so you can honor your needs without guilt. Let's just take a pause here for a moment. And I love sharing this one with you. Hey, Maria, this show up, take, let me back up. Take care of yourself well enough so that when you take care of others, you do it from your overflow. So what does that mean? That means that I'm going to honor my needs. That's why I'm bringing that up now, because we're talking about setting boundaries. So I'm going to honor my needs, right? I'm going to be grounded in what I need, and I'm going to give to others from my overflow. So that means it's going to be really important to set up some boundaries, right? To look ahead and set some boundaries. So, like I said, the big solution is learning to expect pushback, stay firm, and communicate with confidence so you can honor your needs without guilt. So, this talks for you if you've set boundaries before only to feel pressured into backing down, or you worry about upsetting or disappointing people when you say no. Something in my eye. You want to stand firm in your decisions without guilt or anxiety. What would that be like? There's some freedom in that. I'm telling you, there's some freedom in that. What you're about to discover is why pushback happens and what it really means. You're going to love it. And the difference between guilt and responsibility, and how to navigate boundary pushback with calm, confident communication. Like I said, we have a little script for you. So here's a little example of when you don't set a boundary. So I had a relationship, a friendship with a woman for a couple of years, and I noticed that she would hijack the conversation. In fact, I never even knew what that meant. We had a conversation about it one day, and she called it hijacking the conversation, and actually that's a thing. But she would take over the conversation, and I'd walk away not feeling seen or heard. It happened to be my birthday, and I was telling her what I was doing, what I did with my son for my birthday, and she hijacked the conversation, started talking about what she did for her daughter for her birthday. That was it. That was it. So I don't remember exactly what I said, but I took a breath and I was as calm as I could, and I told her how it made me feel, and it blew up. It blew up. And things she said things that I didn't even know she felt that way. It was out of control. So the reason I'm bringing this up is so you don't get to that point where people are blowing up at you and saying things that you don't want to hear, that you don't want to experience, that really they have no business saying, right? If you want to set those boundaries, you want to set those boundaries ahead of time. And it's worth the effort to set the boundaries, to learn a few tools to set boundaries and be able to have that clear communication and notice when you feel like your boundaries are being crossed or somebody's encroaching, and how to say something confidently and kindly and calmly, setting those boundaries. I'm really uncomfortable with the way you're talking to me right now. And it didn't seem whatever I did, this person was just, she didn't want to be called on it. And part of that I conditioned because I let it happen. I let her get away with it for so long. So take a look at your relationships and the places where you need to set a boundary, and just look at how long you've been getting that, or how long you've been allowing them to get away with it. So then it's time to do something about it, right? Okay. So let's talk about this. Pushback is a sign that your boundary is working. See, you don't have to get upset. You can just inside know it's like, oh wow, that look at that. Jerry was right. They're pushing back. I knew that was going to happen. So it doesn't mean you did something wrong, and that's the distinction. It means that they were benefiting from you not having one. They were benefiting from you not having a boundary, and now you have one, so they're pushing it, they're giving some pushback, right? And the biggest problem associated with this is people get upset because they were used to the old dynamic. You change you change the plan. They didn't get the memo. They're getting it now. There's new boundaries here. Or another problem is you take their reaction personally and you feel guilty. And that's an old pattern that we want to identify, and so that we don't have to go there. It's like, oh, that was the old way of being. I don't have to show up with that anymore because that's about guilt. It's not about growth, right? You get to decide. And then you worry that standing firm will damage the relationship. I'm going to tell you what, it's going to make that relationship stronger. Mark my words. It will make the relationship stronger. Yes. So the solution is reframing pushback in a it is reframing pushback as a natural part of setting boundaries, not as a reason to give up, right? Somebody pushes back, just look at it as a natural way or part of the process. To reframing we got to look at pushback as a natural part of the process. So what if you look at it this way, what's possible? A mindset shift that keeps you from taking or from reacting personally, and greater confidence in holding your boundaries. And it makes it possible that you feel stronger and more balanced in your relationships because you're communicating. Your needs are being met, right? You're setting your boundaries. So next time someone reacts negatively to your boundary, pause and remind yourself, this is their adjustment period, not my mistake. You can even kind of smile on the inside and go, yeah, it's working. Yeah, it's working. Yeah. All right, let's talk about guilt versus responsibility. Hey, Melissa and Maria and Tia. Welcome. We're talking about healthy boundaries. We're doing a series on a 5-week series on boundaries. Anyway, okay, so what are we talking about? Pushback is a sign of boundaries. Oh, guilt versus responsibility. Guilt tells you that um, guilt tells you that you did something wrong. Responsibility reminds you that you're in charge of your own well-being. See the difference? Guilt, if I feel guilty, if I feel like I did something wrong, that's guilt. But responsibility reminds me I'm in charge here of my own well-being, but not other people's reactions. I'm not in charge of that. I'm not in charge of that. So I'm going to step back from that. The biggest problem associated with this is people feel responsible for how others feel about your boundaries. So, we're worried about them not liking our boundary or, them not liking us or it hurting the relationship or that relationship I was talking about a little bit ago. I was willing to give that up because there wasn't a shift, that we weren't able to come to a shift. Right? So I don't need that, right? I don't need somebody hijacking the conversation, and I don't need to walk away from a relationship, a friendship, not feeling seen and heard. So it's okay to put your boundary up. And if it doesn't work, then it's a new person maybe, or you go make new friends. Or, with family, you have to set those boundaries. That's why with family, you want to be really good at setting healthy boundaries because if it's our kids, we're teaching them. We're teaching them. And if it's our partner or our siblings or adult siblings, we're teaching them too. What's okay and what isn't. Right? Right? Right. Taking care of yourself well enough so that you're giving to others from your overflow. And what does that mean? That means setting healthy boundaries. So we're talking about guilt versus responsibility. Um, and second guessing your decisions because of emotional reactions. Right? Oh, you know, uh, you jump into guilt, or maybe I was too harsh. So knock that off. Just know that that's the problem with that our mind goes there. And the solution is recognizing the difference between guilt as an emotional reaction and responsibility, a personal choice. And what this makes possible is freedom from taking the other people's emotions on. I want to say something, but I don't want to get off track. Clarity in decision making and more ease in boundary setting. And you empaths out there, when you can set those boundaries, you're not taking on all their emotions. If you've had a lot of trauma in your life and you're really in tune with other people's feelings, maybe not so much your own, but you have that skill of being really in tune with others, boundary setting keeps you in a safer place, right? In a more empowered place. Okay. So, simple action step. Write down a boundary you recently set, or maybe one you need to set, right? Um, but write one and then ask yourself, am I feeling guilty because I did something wrong or because I'm not used to prioritizing myself? Hey, the whole talk was worth it right there, right? Am I feeling guilty because I did something wrong or because I'm not used to prioritizing myself? And we're giving ourselves permission to prioritize ourselves. So here's your confidence script. How to hold your boundary firmly. And the point here is knowing what to or how to respond calmly and confidently when someone pushes back, right? That's that moment where you just take a breath and pause. And the biggest problem associated with it is people try to negotiate or guilt trip you into changing your mind. We have solutions. Or you feel flustered and struggle to stand your ground, or you over explain or justify your choice. So the solution is using firm, clear, kind response, right? Using a firm, clear, and kind response that ends the discussion without conflict. And what this makes possible is clear, respectful communication. Wouldn't you like to have that in your relationships? Clear, respectful communication. Just take that on, feel that. That feels really good. You can create that by setting healthy boundaries. Less stress, and then you'll have less stress around saying no because you're prioritizing yourself, right? So you can give to others from your overflow. And then the ability to stand firm without getting drawn into the drama. That drama is really stressful. We get all confused in all that chaos. So you're able to stand back and away from it. And here's a simple action step. Practice this script the next time someone pushes back. So I'm going to write this down, or go back and learn it. It's like 3 lines. I'll go through each one of them and say what we're doing, and then I'll go through the script without um, describing it. But 3 steps. So somebody's asked you something and you told them, no, that doesn't work for me. Or you said no. And then they're pushing back. That's where we are in this conversation. You acknowledge their feelings by saying, I understand this might be disappointing for you. Then number 2 is restate your boundary, but I've already made it my decision and it's what's best for me right now. And number 3, close the conversation. I appreciate your understanding. Then stop talking. You got to practice this. So I understand this might be disappointing for you, but I've already made my decision and it's what's best for me right now. I appreciate your understanding, right? So we don't say it, oh, I appreciate your understanding. It's like, I appreciate your understanding. It's like really coming from your heart, really believing they're going to appreciate it. And then stop talking because we're so used to wanting to defend ourselves or give excuses or the reasons and justify it, whatever. If you want to clear that out of your life, it starts with you, right? So you give, you make a statement or set a boundary, and then you be quiet. I understand this might be disappointing for you, but I've already made my decision, and it's best for me. It's what's best for me right now. I appreciate your understanding. Go practice that in the mirror. I am not kidding. Go practice that in the mirror. Get real clear on, pick a boundary you want to work on this week. Pick a boundary. And then if this is the thing that you're feeling, um, that you're afraid of the pushback, this is a powerful way. A powerful way. I would teach this stuff to my clients, you guys. So take this and utilize it. Now I'll go in later and put the script in the chat, but I'd love your feedback on this. Do you think this would work? Do you think you could use this skill, right? When somebody's pushing back, try it with your kids. Try it with your kids. Try it once and then let me know how it goes, right? Just try it. Um, I think the most important thing, though, is to come from a place of love. Then you don't feel so much fear because sometimes we feel a lot of fear when we are setting boundaries and we're standing up for ourselves. But boy, we don't have any trouble standing up for others, right? Where we're going to turn that toward yourself and stand up for yourself so you can feed others from your overflow. So you're taking care of yourself so well or well enough that it's overflow, right? You've got priorities, you're setting healthy boundaries. Right. Okay, so what did we talk about? Pushback is a sign that your boundary is working. Don't take it personally. Guilt versus responsibility. You're responsible for your needs, not other people's emotions. And the confidence script. Somebody asks you for something, you tell them, no, that doesn't work for me. They throw their fit or whatever, be ready for a fit. And you just take a nice deep breath, inhale, and say, I understand this might be disappointing for you, but I've already made my decision, and this is what's best for me right now. I appreciate your understanding. Softening your voice. I'm telling you, try it with your kids. I want to know how it goes. All right, so if you need some help setting boundaries, let's do a clarity call. And if you know, if you have resentment towards someone, how are your boundaries toward that person or with that person? Do you feel kind of anxious and a little pissed off under the skin about someone? And if you looked at yourself, maybe it's because you're not setting the boundaries that you need, and maybe you're not clear on what's important to you. So if you want to have a conversation that matters, type healthy boundaries in the chat, and let's get on a clarity call and help you identify, maybe have a little practice with the script, and you can take the next step and of your empowered self. Okay. I want to know what you thought of this talk. Can you use this script? Thank you for staying. And I'll be back next week. I don't remember the exact title, but it's the next phase, week 4 of setting healthy or the healthy boundaries series. So there's a 5-week healthy boundaries series. And if you go to the guide section and look up healthy boundaries. It's right at the top. I put it right at the top. And that's something about this group you may not realize. So when you make a new Facebook group, you can't make a guide section anymore. You can't store videos somewhere where people can go look through them and pick something up. We have that. And there's like 50 meditations in there. And I know there's over 100 talks in there. But right now, there's the series of healthy boundaries. So, and I was telling a lady the other day that she wanted to hear my stuff. And I said, well, I showed her the guide section on her phone, and I said, when you're commuting, you could just listen in. As long as you've got good internet, you can listen into the other talks. And what you're doing is you're growing, you're raising your vibration, right? You're learning new things that you can apply to your life today. Anyway, thank you for staying. I'm Jerry Cates, and I'll see you soon. See you next week. Bye bye.